Wait. Sorry. 1 minute. Shoot. Oh.
Yeah, you said don't need anymore. Okay.
In this case, they have very limited. And the other, I mean,
So good morning, everyone. My name is Dee. We're beginning a series of forums that we're going to call Masakita. So what we'll be doing is we'll be So today we'll be introducing YB Dr. Mati Malik, the MP for Simpang Logam, the former Minister of Education. Just a little bit of background, he was actually not a regular politician before 2018, so he was a lecturer teaching at the International Islamic University of Malaysia, and he studied Islam in the Middle East. But he did, for not being a politician, you did make some incredible changes as education minister, during your tenure.
So,
I mean, you encouraged, less exam-oriented teaching. You tried to reduce the burden of teachers, and also you passed ALKU, the amendment to ALKU. And I think, as a young person, that was really important for me. And I'm actually very grateful that
student unions,
and
campus election.
Precisely.
I think giving more freedom to students and academics.
Yeah.
And a lot of other things that nobody really bother.
No, we do bother, and I'm here to say thank you. So, yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So today we want to talk about Masakita. So Masakita, as you know.
What is Masakita?
Okay, Masakita is the movement on Twitter that began.
Because the last time I seen Masakita was last night on the tweets of one of our current ministers. And I saw a lot of comments.
Oh, okay.
Hey, this is a hijack on our.
It is a hijack. So Masakita is a protest against old establishment.
Protest?
It is.
And that minister is among the old establishment and using that slogan.
Yes. Which I thought.
Interesting.
Excuse me, sir. But just
actually make your point.
we are making our point. But the point is to stay focused and just sort of.
The big hijack nowadays, I think it's a common thing in Malaysia.
Yeah, but you can't hijack something so big because no one's gonna believe you.
They hijack a lot much bigger things in Malaysia. What is on this slogan?
But just to clarify, Masakita is a movement by young Malaysians, but it doesn't mean that we're boomers out. It also means that we are against all the inefficiencies. Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So actually, that you brought it up, right? That certain minister who used the hashtag, he basically initiated many moves in Malaysia's democracy that I feel stifled Malaysians. How did you feel in February when all this happened?
I was flabbergasted,
Yeah.
shocked, and it's very unwelcome.
Mhm.
You know, when you have a proper democracy in place, people voted for their choice, they got what they voted for, and then you hijack them.
Yeah.
You hijack their choice, you hijack their dream. So, I talk about Masyarakat being hijacked, it's
Yes.
nothing.
It's nothing.
It's
That's why I
But it's very unwelcome.
It is.
And it's very immoral, I would say. I mean, how in the world you're going to justify to people that, I know quite a few came back from overseas, from abroad, and a lot of them taking, a lot of painstaking efforts to come back to their constituency just to vote, to cast their vote. To a better future for the nation. And then what they are receiving now, all their dream is being shredded to pieces. And it's being hijacked by a group of people for their own benefits, for their own dream, at the expense of people's dream.
So I'll call you like a political outsider before all this, right? When you were in PPBM and this was all happening, and now when you see that there might be alignment from that certain minister's gang to PPBM, how does that make you feel?
I'm not sure whether I'm still an official, a lawful PPBM member.
Yeah.
Because if you ask me and the other 6,
Yeah.
we still consider ourselves as an official and lawful PPBM member.
Right.
Because our case is still going on until the 7th of August. Nothing could be decided on our membership until the court ruling is out. But again, talking from the point of view of PPBM, Bersatu is a party that has been established to replace the old regime, to replace the old grand.
Do you feel like it's done that?
Unfortunately, now it's being hijacked. Why
hijacked?
Who started? Our dream then was to bring a new politics, a new culture in Malaysian politics, to bring a new dream, a new hope. It's very unfortunate. Now we are transgressing towards the old days, and people are talking now it's worse. A lot of we're talking about freedom being stifled, talking about rights being abused, and people are talking about it now. You read the social media, and that's the only place that people could resort nowadays. You read the comments about netizens. Listen to the new generation, to your generation. How are you guys being failed with whatever happening after that incident in February? And this is not why I joined politics in the first place. When I first joined politics and I loved the campus, it was to realize the dream of the future generation. You want to bring good governance. You did mention that I came from university. Yes, I used to teach Islam and Islamic thoughts and also politics, because my writing did involves a lot of things about good governance. That was my training. Luckily, within the 20 months given to me as a Minister of Education, we've managed to achieve some of those good governance elements. If you notice, just a couple of days ago, or was it 2 days ago, or was it yesterday, I was talking about the dashboard to monitor the delegated schools progress. Okay, delegated schools is one of the things that I would say I would thank the whole Ministry of Education, who has been helping me to rebuild and to help people in rural areas, especially in Sabah and Sarawak, to build back their delegated schools. Either we build a new one for them, or we repair them with a new one, with a better one, with one that's more convenient for the teachers and the students. I know that you will be asking me about IR 4.0, about digital literacy, and yesterday people are talking about PPSMI, we're talking about something big when a lot of students still studying in a building which nearly collapsed. Literally, because I went to rural places in Sarawak and Sabah, to those islands, to those pedalaman. I could see the buildings nearly collapse. I could touch them. I could see them with my bare eyes. So that's why we put our priority to repair those devastated schools. But learning from the mistakes of the previous VM government, yes, they lost a lot of projects. Ended up in Project Saki, Project Tabakala. The contractors got what they wanted for.
So they give the funding, but they don't monitor.
They don't monitor, and the rakyat are suffering
Right.
for how many decades? So we have managed to implement a new method, a new monitoring method, the dashboard, where not only the minister and the higher administration of the ministry could monitor the progress daily, but also the people, all the stakeholders, whether they're in Sabah, whether they are stakeholders of that school, or whether they are people, even younger people.
Yeah.
The dashboard are being updated daily on the progress. So this is where, in the parliament, I did ask the minister on the latest progress of the devastated school projects. He presented a few figures which are totally different from the figures being mentioned in the dashboard. And I accessed the dashboard, I think it was yesterday, 2 days, in the morning after, in the morning when the answer was given. So you can see the discrepancy there. So I just want to know where is the seriousness in repairing those devastated schools?
Right.
Is it still there? Like the old days?
Actually, like I want to flip back a bit to your 22 months, 20-ish months as an education minister. On the subject of Sabah and Sarawak, I have a question from the YB of Kutatan from Parliament Digital, because she's a educator as well. So she says the zero reject policy has allowed stateless children to be enrolled in schools. However, this is only limited to children.
I think we need to correct that term. It's okay. What is stateless? Because normally people understood by the word stateless means they are illegal immigrants, especially in Sabah, which is not what we want to
So
present.
this one is it's limited to children who are of Malaysian fathers. So
We are talking about undocumented citizens, undocumented children of the citizens.
alright.
This is where normally in the Dewan Rakyat, when I address this issue, I never use the word stateless. I use the word warga negara tidak berdokumen, undocumented citizen. But unfortunately, when it is being translated into English, the word stateless keep popping up. And I think we really need to enhance the command of bahasa kebangsaan among our citizens. Because when the translations got lost, I mean, when certain terminologies got lost in translation, it will give a very bad impression, and you will be diving into an endless discussion where all the parties are talking about totally different things.
Okay.
Yeah, just like
Undocumented
citizens. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Or
So
undocumented citizens' children.
undocumented
Yeah,
citizens.
because you cannot consider them as citizens unless they are legally accepted as citizens.
Okay.
So
Would
these
refugees
children,
be under?
no.
Okay.
Refugees, there's a totally different act to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is beyond my knowledge. Okay. Beyond my jurisdiction of that.
Okay.
But again, we were talking about our own citizens.
Yeah.
Our own citizen, sometimes we have both parents are citizens,
Yeah.
documented citizens, but because of those children, I mean, they were brought to this world out of wedlock, and the parents, for whatever reason, did not register their children, so they couldn't get access to school. Or unangkat of the citizens.
Yeah.
We have a lot of these issues everywhere, not only in Sabah and Sarawak, but also in my own constituency.
Yeah.
So what happened there? Because of this zero reject policy, the schools, the PPD, and also the JPN, Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara, in any of those districts, have been working together to get those children being registered. Hence, they can come to school.
Mm.
So because we believe that education is for all, and education is the rights of every child.
Yeah. So the question is, have you ever thought
Did I
of
bore you?
extending? Yeah,
Did I bore you guys?
No, no, it's not boring.
Sometimes
It's not
people-
boring at all because I'm half Filipino and I was born in Taiwan, so this is an issue. It's very close to my heart.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when this question
At
comes,
the end of the day, we are all Malaysian.
at the end of the day, we're all like, I mean, I consider myself as Malaysian as anyone else.
Definitely,
Yeah. So the question is, have you ever thought of extending the policy to refugees in the peninsula?
You should ask the current government. I'm no longer in the
No,
cabinet.
right,
no
like, but
government.
at the time, did you think that this was something you're working towards? Like, were you considering
No,
it?
we're
Or, like,
talking,
question
no, no,
is-
sometimes we're talking about certain policies, not only the restriction of certain ministries. A
Mm.
lot of policies
Right.
need to be promulgated, need to be
They will work hand in hand
endorsed
with, yeah.
by different ministries.
Right.
They should work together, and no ministry can work in silo. So I think what we have done throughout the 22 months is because we inherited the system from the previous regime, then we have the tendency to work in silo.
Mm.
You know, whenever we're talking about zero reject policy, the Ministry of Education always thought that, okay, it is our jurisdiction, it is our territory, so it is ours. Actually, it's not. It belongs to the people, it belongs to the whole government. So when you want to implement that, you need cooperation from, if you're talking about the undocumented
Mm.
citizen or undocumented children of the citizens, you need to get whole support from the KBN. You need whole support from Kementerian Kebajikan Wanita Masyarakat. And also, you need the help of PPT. Sometimes people look, hey, what PPT have?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, they have the data.
Yes, and KBTT. So it's very unfortunate whenever we are endorsing or whenever we're coming on certain policies, it all speaks in, okay, there should be a guardian. For example, this kind of policy,
Mhm.
the guardian is KPN, but again, it should involve other ministries as well. This is where the other day when in Dewan Rakyat,
Yeah.
I was begging, I was pleading to the Minister of Home Affairs that please continue this effort. I mean, I did make my plight to both,
Yep.
to the Senator Razif Din as a current Minister of Education, and also to OFP Larut, Hamzah Zainuddin and the Home Ministry. Please work together and continue this policy for the sake of our children, for the sake of our future generation, and for the sake of the nation. Education is for all. Pendidikan untuk semua, and pendidikan tanggung adalah hak semua kanak-kanak.
And with that, so the other question that I got, so I had an open call on my Insta stories. Follow me on Instagram, guys, if you want to ask people like some good questions.
Ask her, don't ask me.
Okay, the other thing is when you were a minister, from what I understand, you did implement some political literacy components in Pendidikan Civic in schools. How far did you go, and how far would you have taken it if you had the time?
Normally, when, you know, I like that word. When you were, when I was,
Yeah.
to lament that old days. But what hurts me more is, are those in the pipelines
Mm.
that we have not managed to implement them.
Yeah.
So people couldn't ripe the fruit. It was in works in progress, still on their way, but God is still anyway. But anyway, coming back to your question, what was your
Political
question?
literacy.
Political literacy. It's not only in civic.
Yeah.
Not only Pendidikan Civic, that we hope that we would instill not only political literacy, but also other elements of civic lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I still remember when I was a minister, I've been visited by the human rights NGO, by SUAKA, by environmentalist group,
Yeah.
by this, that, everybody are demanding for their interests to be addressed in our education, which they have the full rights to do so,
Yeah.
and to ask so. But again, to have different subjects on different matters, you would burden the children with a lot of things. So we're thinking of incorporating all those elements, all those issues, or all those subjects that could develop Malaysians or Malaysian children to be civilized citizens into different subjects. For example, we have Politics and Civic that I tried very hard to revive it again. I don't know whether it's still there.
No, I don't know. I'm not.
Because it goes beyond the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a subject like that, but also we try to inculcate all those elements in other subjects as well. In English, in Bahasa, in Sejarah. Sejarah is the most important subject. Yeah. And in all the school assemblies, and all those co-curricular activities, and all those extracurricular activities. So we try to put every single subject to be learned and to be implemented in every week of the year. For example, this week we're going to learn about to recycle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So for the whole week, not only is being addressed the school assembly, but also there are activities in the classes, in the school as a whole, that must relate to the topic of recycling. So everybody must come up with, the right recycling habits, recycling campaign, and they must practice it to be implemented the whole year. The following week, they are going to learn about respecting the elders. So maybe one of those activities, they're going to visit the old folks' house, or maybe they're trying to bring something back
The
home.
funding for all that, because when I had civics and stuff, we didn't do all that in school. We just tried to skip class.
When was that?
When I was a child. When I was a child.
A couple of centuries ago.
Yeah, many centuries.
No, this is where I say that these are all in the pipelines. That to
Mm.
make school a fun place, to
Yeah.
make learning as something which is fun to everybody, not only
Yeah.
to the kids but also to the
Ah,
teachers.
so this was your center.
Yes. And then one thing, I was trying to make pendidikan civic or civic education's approach. It's not only the subject; it's approach. Something that will change the whole perspective of Malaysian education. You would learn about human rights, about equality,
Actually,
about environment, about other things in Sejarah, in BM, and even in mathematics. So, yesterday we were talking about PPSMI.
Yep.
During my days, whenever they asked me about PPSMI, I would tell them that we should go beyond PPSMI and DLP and all this discussion. We should explore the new way of learning, the new way of education. We should embrace the new spirit of education. Just to confine learning English or learning mathematics and science in English,
Yeah.
which is an old debate.
Yeah.
You would ended up in two groups.
It's so old, it's emotional now.
Emotional, political, and sentimental,
Sama je lah.
and sometimes people try to drag it into the racial perspective.
Yeah.
We are going nowhere. So whenever I've been asked, I say we're going to IR 4.0 education. How? I think we need to inculcate all those elements in certain subjects. Part of it is in pendidikan civic. Part of it should be in BM itself. Some of it should be inculcated in English subject itself. You could teach a lot of things in English rather than making English a very boring subject. Let's turn it into a fun, into a fun subject. And I know that English teachers out there, I know that they are a bunch of creative people. They're fun and they're not as strict, cikgu, karam or whatever. They're very creative people. I know them well. The only thing is we put them into a straight jacket in teaching grammar.
Yep.
In correcting all the essays. Talking about language is about lifestyle. Talking about language is about how you see things, how you perceive things. So language is about life.
Yeah.
You want to teach about preserving the environment. You want to teach them about human rights. You want to teach them about political literacy and even financial literacy. Inculcate them in English, in English subject. So what about mathematics?
People would argue.
Yeah. What about mathematics? Rather than talking about we should teach mathematics in English because most of the reference are in English or not. Or people say, no, we should preserve bahasa kebangsaan kita. Nanti kita akan mencapai kehormatan.
Yeah,
No. We should go beyond that
Yeah.
by looking into the subject, the content of the subject. We should make learning mathematics a fun thing for children.
Right.
You know,
I love math. Yeah.
I used to hate math when I was at Sekolah Rendah. When I went to Sekolah Menengah, my teacher, I still remember, his name is Chua something, but we call him Pak Chua, and sometimes he called himself Ape. He turned mathematics into a very fascinating subject. How? Trying to relate whatever you learn to your life. This is what Singapore is doing. And a lot of Latin American countries are learning from Singapore. This is where, as I remember, I keep communicating with some of the educators in Singapore, trying to adopt their method in teaching mathematics. This is where, as I remember, whenever in my meeting with our higher level of Minister of Education officers, I keep asking them, we need a new content for our mathematics. We need to change the way Malaysians see mathematics. We need to bring life into mathematics. We need to bring mathematics into the real life, rather than look at the figures without knowing how to make use of those figures. Bring them into life. They go to school, they play games. They're dealing with their daily life. They're going to the groceries. They're dealing with a lot of small entrepreneurship, and they're dealing with political issues also.
Okay, but interesting how you want to try that. But is it okay if we move?
It's all about the content. It's not about language being taught. You can teach. You can bring English in mathematics subject. In some of the subject, they need to learn certain jargons and certain terminologies in English. But it's not the whole structure. You need to, first and foremost, you need to make learning mathematics a fun stuff. Science is, totally game changer. You can do a lot of things in science. I've adopted this book. I'm not trying to promote this book. Yuval Harari, he has certain worldview that I would say extremely disagree with, but there are certain things that he instigated in this book, trying to bring people to look into their future, anticipating their future or molding their future by looking at the current science and trying to push science into what will make their future. This is another book that I really encourage you guys to have a read. Future-wise, educating our children for a changing world. It's very interesting. Somebody gave it to me when I was the minister. So there was one of the blessings being a minister. You always get free books. Now I have to buy books online. Thanks to my daughter, who keep doing that for me. Not without charge. She will charge me on that too. But anyway, science. You could shape the future of our nation through science subject. But to limit the discussion on science subject by discussing or by debating what language should be used to teach science, will kill the subject itself, will kill the dynamism of the subject itself, and will kill the whole spirit of new education. This is why I think when I came to the ministry in the first place, I was asked by the Prime Minister then to form a committee, Jangkauan Kajian Dasar, that worked for a year, getting all the, less than a year, they get all the feedback, suggestions, proposals from different stakeholders that engage with more than 16,000 stakeholders. It's not an easy task. It was a gigantic, I would say, gargantuan task that they managed to deliver. And this committee consists of educators, professionals, people from IT, people from different walk of life. Together, they came up with a proposal. And the proposal is being, excuse me, because of the coffee. I'm getting old anyway. So it's being turned into policy statement, into what we propose as the new education model. I'm not sure what is the status of that proposal now. It is a kind of, in the past we do have Penyata Ramantali, Penyata Raza and whatnot. And this proposal that we call Laporan Jawatan Kajian Dasar is a game changer. It's going to change the whole perspective of Malaysian education. It's no longer what we're seeing now. It's an education model for the future Malaysia that will cope up with IR 4.0, that will make Malaysia in the same place with developed nation, with civilized, and educated, and well-informed citizens.
Actually, on that note, you mentioned you want to be on par with other developed nations. Other developed nations now all over the world, every university is facing the same issue. Students are still paying fees in full. There is no response or no sort of action plan for when a crisis hits. How do you think Malaysia can cope in this time? Because it hits private universities and public. I understand it's an administrative problem as well. What do you think we should be doing, or what should we have done better? And do you think it's time? I think this is a question a lot of parents have as well. Do you really think it's time for students to go back to school?
Two things. Let's go for the first question.
Yeah, okay.
When you're asking about the university fee and what's not, just like I mentioned earlier, it's not only the majority of the Ministry of Higher Education. During my days, there was no higher and lower, it's all Ministry of Education. It should be addressed also together with the MEA, Ministry of Academic Affairs. Because it's all about economics.
Okay.
It's all about economics. And it must also be addressed by Minister of Rural Affairs.
Yep.
We're talking about people. So it must be discussed in the cabinet by a specific committee looking into it, not from the university perspective, not only from the parent perspective, not only from the student perspective, but from the all stakeholder from the comprehensive national perspective, because you're not only dealing with fee.
That's true.
At the moment, you're dealing with what is going to happen next. Should it happen again? Or the ramification of the fee, or the ramification of this pandemic. Okay. So,
They'll move to jobs later.
Precisely, and it's not only one ministry task. It should be tackled by different ministers working together to look into it. Okay, that's one thing. The second question was about school opening. You asked me about school opening. I always believe in decentralization and empowerment of the school leaders and empowerment of the schools.
Because teachers miss their students.
In one of the interviews conducted by, was it IIUM students then? I couldn't recall. There were a few interviews when we were still in lockdown at home. I was really enjoying my curfew in the house and let me say confinement, solitary confinement. Okay. Then we were still having that PKP. I say that what the ministry in Putrajaya, what the Kementerian Pendidikan should do in Putrajaya is not to make a centralized decision. Those in Putrajaya doesn't really understand what really happening in Pulau Bumbung, what really happening in Sekolah Orang Asli in Cameron Highland. They don't really understand what's happening to certain schools in some of the islands, in Sabah, in Sarawak, in Pahang, or some of those places. They're far away from others, and they know their people. Zero case of COVID-19. Why should they have the same fate as other schools in great area, like the one in my constituency? They're having such a situation. PKPD, it's a totally different situation from those places. There are certain places which considered as green zone. Why didn't they have the opportunity then to start their schooling session? They should have, okay, SOPs there, should be there.
Yeah.
They should work together with KKN, Ministry of Health. They should work together with the local authorities, PBT. They should work together with KPKT Limited to ensure that schooling, that schools should be open, even then, but with a very strict SOP. For example, in one of the islands that I went, they only have 20 students.
Oh,
Nobody coming into the island, nobody going out from the island during the PKT.
why not just?
Why not just open the school? There were schools with, I think that Pulau, I couldn't recall the name. They only have 75 students,
In the whole school?
the whole school.
Wow.
And some of the island, they do have 125 students, but nobody coming in, nobody going out, nobody leaving the island. No COVID will come to them.
Fair enough.
Let them open the school.
Yeah.
Sekolah orang asli. I still remember one of my officers going to sekolah orang asli either in Kelantan, in Pahang, in Perak. You know, you need to take how many hours drive by using 4x4 to reach that school. The teachers are all there, school administrators are all there. I mean, parents know the children, know the teachers know the parents and the children. Why did you empower them to decide? Let the PTA, let the school leaders, let the teachers discuss among themselves with the guidance from KKM, from the PPT, whether it is suitable or not for them to start the schooling. So when you have all the decision being made by Putrajaya without taking into consideration of different schools in different contexts, wouldn't know. Okay, I wouldn't say you look at the United States of America. Okay, put aside Trump. No.
Okay, then,
Yeah, but,
are they a good example?
yeah, they're not a good example.
Okay.
They're not a good example.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is the decentralization.
Okay.
It is not Trump that decide whether whether the schools, universities will. It's the states.
Okay, so the bad decisions are the states.
The better say, yeah, the states decide.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, certain kind of empowerment should be given. Schools, school leaders, PTAs, teachers should be empowered to decide
Right.
whether to open the schools or not. This is not what happening. So you see that the same SOP, the same approach being imposed to all schools throughout the nation without looking into different contexts that they're living with or living in.
Okay, so let's address.
I always believe in empowerment, including the empowerment of youth.
Okay, I'm going to enter a very big subject. So the unemployment figures were released for this quarter. We've just passed 5,
It's getting
and
worse.
we're expecting it to get worse.
Especially in October.
Yeah.
So prepare for the worst, guys.
So what are your aspirations for this year and moving forward? Because there have been a few studies by McKinsey, for example, World Bank, that AI is going to take over the world, and in 15 to 20 years, all our jobs, okay, maybe 50% of our jobs can be done by robots, right? So what is the short-term plan for young people coming into the workforce, especially now that more people are less likely to come into universities to enroll? And at the same time, how are we going to prepare for this future entering an AI-run world?
Okay. First and foremost, we should instill in our mind that human life has changed post-pandemic.
That's true.
We need to face the new reality, or what is being called as the new normal, whatever it is.
Some people would say that this is our time to enter into entrepreneurship and venture.
Let me finish my argument first.
Sorry.
Life has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, individual life, family life will be more micro in nature, more intimate. People are worried about their health, about their well-being, more and more in compared to before. People feel more comfortable to stay in their house and get things to be delivered to them, rather than them going to get whatever they want. People's concern is more about not only about their survival, their well-being, but also about the small interest of their family rather than looking at the bigger community interest. So with that kind of approach, you could see a lot of new industries mushrooming all around the world. Delivery service is crazy now. You mentioned about big data, about AI and what's not. Yes, we're talking about robotic. But again, there are certain things that people will, that machines cannot replace human being. Talking about entrepreneurship is one thing, and I mean, what I've been reading that now the online businesses are mushrooming and is becoming the new big thing in human life, but also agriculture, food industry.
Okay.
Yeah. Talking about agriculture, trust me, I'm not talking about large scale, massive scale agriculture. People will start going into a micro agriculture,
Okay.
self-sustain, and this is the next big thing. So, youth should try to explore this.
Get jobs in agriculture, guys.
And you know, the other day, I'm not sure whether you noticed or not, but I think a lot of people did notice, including the speaker. I was wearing gloves
Okay.
in the day one riot. And you can watch in one of those recording that some say, oh, it's cool, you look just like Luke Skywalker, you know. And some say, oh, you look like Darth Vader. Come together. You know, I was wearing a hand-based medical glove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't buy it here. I
Yeah.
got it from somewhere because I have a rheumatoid arthritis. I cannot smoke it and I cannot.
Okay, yeah. There's
So when I'm wearing it, I didn't get high. To be honest.
Interesting.
It's a medical
No,
stuff.
it's not
It's a
that
medical
bad.
stuff.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So the hand industry for medical purposes, for pharmaceutical purposes.
Okay.
I'm trying to make my point. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to condone that. Sorry, I'm not trying to promote it or not. But I'm trying to say, wow, if you allow hemp hemp plantation, then you cannot control. People will abuse, misuse, and whatnot. I said, hey, are we still living in the time of Piramli or in the time of 60s or 70s?
Okay.
Now we have blockchain.
Okay.
You have AI. You didn't measure what I
Yeah.
blockchain. You know where even a single leaf will go to who. This is the future. You know, you're making full use of AI, blockchain, and big data. You can control everything,
Yeah.
even agriculture. You know, the other day, I still remember talking with my friends about their online shopping. He said that he ordered something from this website, what? Shrimp. He said in the picture, it shows big shrimp.
Okay.
And in the right, small shrimp. How can you avoid that from happening?
I don't know, better.
You have blockchains.
Oh, right, yeah, what am I saying? Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, in the future, just imagine, and this is why, guys, you really need to read this book. But not everything you must accept. Yeah, whenever you read books, try to read them critically, with a critical mindset.
Okay.
But there are a few things that we mentioned in this book that worth to be fathomed, to be pondered. But again, even in the future, just imagine every single piece of chili, you know where it goes to. This is the future. I'm not talking about agriculture. Okay, you just go back, tanam kangkung, tanam jagung.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a very basic thing. You cannot replace that with. Maybe you can replace that with robots, but at the
I would
moment
call it a hobbyist.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be an agriculturist. An agriculturist would take it up to a larger scale. So
That was the old mindset.
yeah.
You just imagine in the future, people will be asking, okay, I need 1 kilo or 10 kilo or whatever from your farm. You know, people are playing with farm bill or not. Yeah, just imagine
Doing
for,
that.
for younger generation, it's no longer one single company or one single tycoon owns how many thousand or million hectares. No, we're talking about
So how do we educate? Yeah.
Jim, who's having, for example, certain square, plot of land like this office, that she shared together with others in 100 hectares.
Okay.
You have 100 hectares not being owned by a single company, but being shared.
Oh, okay.
It's one plot
Like a
by
co-worker
Z.
space.
Precisely.
Huh.
And we're talking about community farm.
Right.
We're talking about even those who are living in flat area and in rumah pangsa areas, they could share certain limited space among themselves, whoever wants. And this is a feature. And not only the space, they can market them with their own premise. And not only that, they will know every single potatoes or every single bawang or every single chilies that they sell to who and whom and for whatever purpose that is.
So let's move that back. How do you integrate that into our education right now?
Entrepreneurship, financial literacy, digital literacy, and all of that is in the report of Jatakuasa Kajian Dasar. The new education model that they're trying to implement, and I don't know what will happen to that proposal. I will be asking that question to our Minister of Education in the Parliament.
That's great.
To know what's the progress of that program. Our new education model will change the whole structure, the whole setup of our educational system. Yeah. People, I still remember, people mocking me all the time when I was a minister, saying that, oh, we hope that our education system will be changed, this and that, and this guy came up with stupid thing. They are expecting things to be changed overnight. This is impossible. And some people who are trying to portray themselves very smart, but they're stupid, and saying that, oh, look at Singapore. I said, come on, Singapore, how many years they built the country?
Yeah.
We're only 20 months. And actually, I was asked about
Singapore's not perfect.
It's not perfect, yeah. Even,
Mental health
okay,
is-
put aside about the imperfection of Singapore.
Okay.
But these people were rushing. CNPH did not do anything. This stupid education minister did not manage to turn Malaysian education into Singapore. Come on, Singapore took how many decades to turn into what it is now, and we are only how many months? But sometimes because it did not frustrate the people. It based on,
our hopes are up here.
the hope was there. They keep condemning the government every day, every hour. So we have been seen as lean people. I'm sorry, we have been seen as lean dogs. And this is the result they got. This is the result they got. I hope they're happy with it. Nobody's happy. So be patient. Rome was not built in a day. No, so this new education model is what we have planned. So it will come. But now, bye-bye. We have to live with the thing that we were never expected. And those expectations from those Russian people will never be implemented if we still having this current situation we're living in.
We're about to end, I think. Maybe I'll leave you with
So fast.
one last question, or any questions from? Okay. So let's ponder on this. With everything that we've said, and with your experience in government and as your life experience as an educator, what are your hopes for my generation? Like, if we were to come in, what do you hope to see us do? And what advice do you have?
I have a long list of advice.
Okay.
Yeah. But to spell them out here, that won't be sufficient.
For 10 minutes.
I would expect another series of interview if you are happy to do that again with me. But it won't be so nice because you have a lot of others who would be able to speak better and coming up with a better arguments than myself. But anyway, but my very sincere advice to younger generation is number one, please don't rush. Number two, keep learning new things and listen a lot to people with experience, but it does not mean you should accept whatever they say literally. I mean, you should be critical, you should be analytical in looking at things. And the most important stuff is never be afraid to make mistakes. And don't ever kill your dreams and imagination. You have a dream, strive for it. You have certain imagination, try to turn it into reality. It's your time. I mean, time is over for the time is over for those older generation. If you look at other developed countries, maybe it's very unfair to compare ourselves with them, especially in our current situation. But you see how they have not only young leaders administrating their countries, but also young leaders leading the business world, leading the economies, entrepreneurship. And I think it's time for Malaysian youth to create some change. Be bold, be brave, strive in whatever you believe, keep dreaming and strive to turn your dream into reality. Never allow people to kill your imagination, but keep learning and accept advices, and don't afraid to make mistakes. Admit if you have done mistakes and try to improve yourself. Try to look into self-criticism. Nobody's perfect, and working as a team is much better than working as individuals or an individual. So that's all.
Yeah, God willing, we can do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jin.
Thank you,
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, now we just need to wait for the.
Oh, he's busy updating his Facebook status. No, sorry, that's very woman's.
Meeting.
Tweeting, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, take permission.